Crazy Turtle's Persistence. Once upon a time, in a tiny pond tucked away between two great, leafy trees, lived a little turtle named Terry. Terry was not your ordinary turtle. He was tiny, almost comically so. While his friends were comfortably swimming around the pond, showing off their sleek swimming skills, Terry had one big problem. He didn't know how to swim. Now, don't get Terry wrong, he was determined. Ever since he was a hatchling, he had dreamed of gliding through the water like his friends, the frogs, the fish, and even the slightly chubby, slow-moving ducks. He wanted to be part of the gang, swimming across the pond, diving under logs, and, most importantly, getting to places faster than just wobbling on his short legs. But Terry's attempts at swimming? Well, let's just say it was a comedy show. Every time he'd try to dive into the water, he'd first take a deep breath, thinking, "This is it, today is the day I conquer swimming." He'd paddle with his tiny legs, kick his little tail, and move his arms as if he were conducting some kind of very poorly choreographed dance. But all Terry managed to do was turn around in circles, his shells splashing the water wildly in all directions. He'd struggle, flailing in every possible direction, only to end up on the shore, exhausted and embarrassed, gasping for breath. Why is it so hard? Terry would think, his tiny body dripping wet as he gazed out at his friends who swam effortlessly in the cool, blue pond. The frogs would croak from the water. "Come on, Terry, you've got this. Just relax and let the water carry you." Easy for you to say. Terry would mutter under his breath, staring at his tiny legs. "I don't have your long, flexible arms or your smooth skin. I'm just a tiny, wobbly turtle." It was a tough life. All Terry could do was sit by the pond's edge, watching everyone else enjoy themselves, feeling left out. But his heart was determined. He would learn to swim. He would not give up. There had to be a way. One particularly sunny afternoon, while Terry was practicing his 150th attempt to swim, which had so far resulted in more belly flops than forward motion, a large shadow passed overhead. Terry looked up, and standing there on the other side of the pond was a very large tortoise, Old Wise, and, most importantly, an expert swimmer. This tortoise's name was Tessa, and she was the most graceful swimmer in the entire pond. Terry stared at her with wide eyes. "Tessa is here. She knows how to swim." Tessa, noticing the tiny turtle on the shore, approached with a warm smile. "Hello, Terry. I see you're trying your best again." Terry, somewhat embarrassed, chuckled awkwardly. "Well, I was trying to swim, but I'm having some difficulties." He gestured to the pond, where the water seemed to mock him as it flowed smoothly. Tessa chuckled, her deep voice echoing in the air. "It's not easy at first, is it? But I see you're determined. That's the first step." Terry's eyes lit up. "You think so? You really think I can do it?" "Of course. Everyone learns at their own pace. The trick is to start slow and not rush things. Trust the water. Let it guide you." Terry blinked. "Trust the water?" Tessa nodded. "Yes. The water doesn't want to fight you. It just wants to help you. Let's give it a try together. I'll teach you." Terry could hardly believe his ears. "Tessa the wise tortoise is going to teach me? Okay. I'm ready," Terry said, his little voice trembling with excitement. Tessa led Terry to a calm section of the pond, where the water was still and clear. "Now, Terry, the first thing to remember is to stay relaxed. Your legs are tiny, but they can move in circles, just like mine. You don't need to make a big splash. Just small, smooth motions." Terry nodded eagerly, trying to keep calm. Small, smooth motions. "Got it. That sounds simple." Tessa smiled. "It's not about strength. It's about balance and rhythm. Now, let's get in the water." Slowly, Terry took a deep breath, hesitating for a moment before dipping his toes into the cool water. His heart raced as he waded in, feeling the water surround him. "Good. Now, gently start paddling with your little legs," Tessa instructed. Terry gave it a shot. He kicked one leg, then the other, moving with a wobbly, uncoordinated rhythm. At first, he felt like he was sinking, but Tessa's calm presence helped. "It's okay, Terry. You're doing great. Just keep practicing." Terry was determined. He kept paddling, feeling the water tugging at him, but something began to shift. The more he tried, the more comfortable he felt. His legs moved in the water with a little more ease. He wasn't gliding like Tessa yet, but he was no longer floundering. Then, after what seemed like hours of practice, but was probably just a few minutes, Terry felt it. The water felt right. His little legs were kicking with purpose, and his shell, though not as sleek as the others, was now a part of the fluid dance of the water. "I'm doing it. I'm really doing it," Terry exclaimed, his eyes wide with joy. Tessa nodded. "You are. Now, let's try to swim a little faster." With a deep breath, Terry pushed off the ground, his tiny legs moving quicker and quicker. At first, he splashed around a bit, but then he found a rhythm. He kicked, paddled, and glided across the water. He was swimming, actually swimming. "I'm swimming. I'm swimming." Terry cheered, zooming through the water faster than he'd ever imagined. Tessa chuckled from the shore. "You've got it, Terry. That's the spirit." After a few more laps with Tessa's guidance, Terry felt like a completely new turtle. His little legs were moving with confidence, and he could swim faster than he ever thought possible. "Thank you, Tessa. I can't believe it. I can swim," Terry exclaimed, his tiny heart swelling with pride. Tessa smiled warmly. "It was all you, Terry. You had the determination. You just needed to trust yourself and the water." Terry grinned. "I'm going to show my friends. I bet they'll be amazed." The very next day, Terry called all his friends together. The frogs, the ducks, the fish, they were all there, waiting by the pond as Terry approached. "Hey guys, guess what? I can swim now. Faster than you," Terry declared, his little chest puffed out with excitement. The frogs looked at each other skeptically. "Come on, Terry, we've seen you try. You can barely float." Terry grinned. "Watch and learn." With that, he dove into the water, his tiny legs kicking furiously. He glided past the frogs, zooming through the water like a little torpedo. The frogs' mouths dropped open. "Whoa, Terry. You're fast." "I know, right?" Terry beamed. "Tessa taught me everything I know." The ducks laughed. "Tessa? You mean the big tortoise? We've been swimming circles around her for years." Terry just winked. "Well, maybe you're a little faster than her. But I'm way faster than I was before." For the next few hours, Terry and his friends swam together, racing each other, splashing around, and enjoying the cool water. Terry had finally become part of the group, and he couldn't have been happier. He had learned how to swim, and in doing so, he had found a new world of fun and excitement. His days of struggling on the shore were behind him. As the sun began to set, Terry floated in the water, his small shell shining in the soft glow of the evening light. He looked around at his friends, his fellow swimmers, and smiled to himself. Life was good. It had taken some time, some patience, and some serious floundering, but Terry the turtle had learned to swim, and now he was unstoppable. The world was his pond to explore, and he couldn't wait for more adventures. And every now and then, when he felt the water pull him forward, Terry would remember Tessa's wise words. "Trust the water and let it carry you." From then on, Terry swam with a confidence that made him the fastest, happiest little turtle around. And just maybe he'd give Tessa a run for her money next time. But for now, he was happy just being with his friends, enjoying the swim of a lifetime.